All right, we get started on Friday. I leave tomorrow for San Diego. So normally Coach Lawson takes us to better weather, but we're actually going to worse weather.
I know, right?
So put that on your
Go Cats, yeah.
This weekend, Stanford twice, number 3 in the country, as long as Minnesota, Santa Barbara, and number 24, San Diego State. That again starts Friday. This is a rule change year for the sport of softball, so there are some significant rule changes that will be implemented this year. Just wanted to highlight a few of them before we got started. We do have pitch communication devices this year, so we'll be implementing those from the dugout. There is a pitch clock in the sport of softball now that will be used for select non-conference games as well as all SEC games, so that's 20 seconds. All outfield walls in the sport now must be 200 yards or more, 200 feet, excuse me, or more.
I was going to say, whoa.
Yeah, 200 feet or more, so that does affect some of the SEC ballparks. Does not affect John Crop Stadium. And then runners leaving the base paths early are now reviewable, so that will be in the instant replay system. That is not reviewable based off of the umpires. It has to be challenged by the head coaches. So those are a couple of ones that you'll notice throughout the year that are significantly different from previous years. So I'll introduce Coach Lawson, 17th season here at UK, 14 straight NCAA tournaments, one of only 15 teams in the country to do that. And we'll have her give an opening statement and then go to questions from there.
Well, thanks for being here. Big crowd, I say this all the time. I am so old that I remember when it was one person who was the athletic department planted somebody in the back room. They had an iPhone out or maybe like a VHS camera and they were asking us questions. So pretty cool to see how the athletic department as a whole are supporting. And that was for baseball and softball. So I I appreciate the support that you have for both of our sports. I think it's really cool. And you can see as your support has gone up, we've also gotten better. So you could take that either direction. Either we've all gotten better, so the sport's gotten better, or vice versa. So I really appreciate you guys being here. I want to, Scholes, what year is this with me?
For me?
Yeah.
9.
Okay, so I have a very dedicated staff, not just my coaches, but our support staff. Very cool. I could go on for days. How long? But Scholes has been this is our 9th year, and he just handed me this card. He understands that I'm on my 7th year, and I can't read this. So, I don't know how he doesn't know. So we're going to have to throw that out. So I don't know how you don't know that. Okay, anyway, so really cool stuff going on. Going to take a minute. So on January 3rd, what was that, a Tuesday? I don't even know. This is the kind of dedication we have around the sport of softball. So Sarah Schwartz is our operations person. She's state of the art. She's awesome. She's calling me. She's like, okay, the visitors bullpen. I got the posts up today, and I've got whatever. Number one, I could care less about the visitors bullpen. But number two, the fact that it was January, and it needed an upgrade. But the fact that it was January 3rd, and she was talking about how she was upgrading the facility was great. On the 4th, Miles Poole, our equipment guy, came into my office and he was showing me our brand new uniforms, which are pinstripes. I don't even know what we wear normally, so this was really cool, but we have pinstripes this year. Am I not supposed to say that? Uh-oh, I just let the cat out of the bag. Sorry. Anyway, whoops. Sorry, Miles. Anyway, so that's January 4th. So we have huge dedication. Our strength coach is with us all the time now. He's with us in gymnastics, which has been a big upgrade for us because we've always shared with baseball, and we have great training on both stats, but the fact that the athletic department was willing to support us and create another position for that, which has been a very great thing and an upgrade for both our programs. So I'm really excited. I could go on and on about my support staff, but I know that's why you guys aren't here. So this kind of buy-in is something that's been consistent throughout my entire time at Kentucky, and it just continues to get better and better. My staff, we have a consistent staff, same staff that we've had. We've got Coach Himes, Coach Molly Johnson-Belcher. Our newest hire on the coaching staff is Grace Ballman, has switched from the volunteer position. As you know, all the sports now have a 4th coach. So Grace has been elevated. She's full-time, and she will now be the pitching coach, which is something that is very different for the University of Kentucky. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to allow me to, don't get me wrong, I still watch all the video, and I'm still in the bullpens and stuff. But what it's done is she's very invested, she's excited, and she's brilliant. But it's allowed freed up time for me to look at other areas within department. Because our big theme this year throughout the coaching staff and throughout the team is to level up. So we've had a lot of success at the University of Kentucky, and we love our success, but you're never satisfied unless you're standing in Oklahoma City. So we do everything that we can to try to elevate that attitude. Starts with our athletic, well, it actually starts with our president, with our fan base, works through our athletic director, and into the softball program. So very excited about that. Moving forward, as far as our team is concerned, we have a great balance this year. We're returning a lot of very experienced players who are very good. It's an interesting team because, believe it or not, with all of us, the spring sports and I think some of the winter sports, we're still in COVID. So in the sport of softball, you're still playing against, and this is odd for us, but you still have freshmen playing against 24-year-olds, which is very weird. Well, this current team that we have now, these were the seniors in high school when COVID hit. So finally, we've kind of aged up in that way. So we have a great balance. We have great seniors. We have, great returners, and then our freshman class is elite. And then when you add Jaden Vickers, who was a transfer from the portal, she was kind of like the missing piece, and I think we hit the nail on the head with that one. She's been exceptional. So I feel good about where the team is. I think that we're strong in all areas of the game, and I'm just looking forward to starting. And we do start with a bang because we play Stanford, who's bringing arguably the best pitcher in the country, and she's throwing, 74, which for those of you who don't follow softball and baseball, that's over 100. So we'll face them twice. We'll face San Diego State, who was also a super regional team. We'll face Minnesota, who is consistently in the postseason in the sport of softball. And then we face a former foe who used to be the head coach at Texas A&M, is taken over at Santa Barbara. So we start off with a bang, and that will be great for us just to see where the team measures up and what we need to do to get ready for SEC play.
Questions? Rachel, what do you think of the pitch clock 1 and 2? Are you still going to call pitches now that you have a pitching coach?
The pitch clock I'm a big fan of because the sport of softball is a really awesome sport on TV. We have very high rankings, especially once basketball season ends. The two top sports on TV are softball and baseball. For softball, it's essential that we keep the game closer to 2 hours. It helps us differentiate from baseball. If we're playing closer, although I think baseball really cut their time down quite a bit. So I think it's crucial nationally that softball and baseball keep their game closer to 2 hours just for the TV market. And this getting rid of the dead time in the sport of softball, as opposed to really kind of getting rid of some of the action stuff, I think is really big. So I'm a big fan of that. And this year we're kind of tag teaming the pitch calling, and I know that seems a little odd, but because Schoonover is used to me and this is her senior year, so I'm grandfathered in more ways than one. But so I will be pitch calling for her, while Grace pitch calls for the rest of the staff that doesn't have that same longevity with me per se. And that's about Stephanie, just to be clear. I think Grace is probably a better pitch caller, to be honest with you. So.
Coach, you called Jaden Vickers missing piece to this roster. Obviously had a lot of success at Rutgers, but why to you was she such a must-add for this program?
Well, last year I was really proud of our team because we did a really good job and we fought and we clawed and we were able to earn another berth to the postseason. So we kept the program's integrity of the chain moving forward. With that said, one of the things that we were rolling on all cylinders at the beginning of the year, and then we took a major injury, Schoonover, believe it or not, I'm going to knock on wood, but that's the first major injury in my entire career to a key starter. And so what it did is it kind of really messed up the bullpen and things like that. So there was a few weeks where we had to figure out who's going to be the starters, who's going to be, the relievers, that sort of thing. And so by adding Jaden to the team, not only is she an outstanding pitcher, she's a lefty, which that's kind of, in softball, there's not as many lefties, obviously a lot more righties, but also she's a great pitcher. And now it adds to the depth of our bullpen, so we don't have to rely on just one key starter. I think, last year we had some starts at other people, but there was a clear difference in the production that we got. And this year I think that the production is going to level out throughout the entire staff, which I'm very excited about.
Coach, with Kayla gone, who have you really seen step up as a leader for this team now that, since she was such a big part of that leadership core?
Kayla was an outstanding leader. She's still with the team as a GA, so just her vibe is kind of cool to have around. I never want to confuse leadership with production, though. And so Kayla was a major producer in addition to being a leader. I feel like we have a lot of leaders on our team. I feel good about that. Like, I have always prided our team on when your best players have the best work ethic and do things the right way, both on and off the field, I think you have a really quality program. And I believe that we have that amongst the team. And I think we have that on a number of players that might not necessarily have the same production numbers. So I'm not concerned about the leadership part. To me, I always say that I said this the other day in practice, the leader of our offense is the girl who's in the box in that moment. And so leadership to me has to go through everything. As far as production is concerned, that's a whole other ball of wax. So right now we have several options in the leadoff spot. I mean, you never replace somebody like Kayla Kowalik. She's a generational athlete, but I do believe we can string some stuff together and so that we're going to be stronger throughout the entire lineup. But with that said, we have a few options in the leadoff position. I believe that Vanessa Nesby has done a great job. She's very strong. She's tough. Riley Smith led our team in offense both in the fall and in hits this winter. So she's maintained that consistency. So we're really excited about that. Margaret Tobias is a name we haven't heard a lot of. She did start for us at second base last year, but she's gotten a lot stronger. She's a lot better. So she looks good. And then Erin Koffel has been in the leadoff position a little bit for us. And so that's something that she is very good at. And need be, we can move her from the RBI spot to that position because I think she is an elite leadoff batter as well. And the nice thing is I think we have a lot of outstanding players that can hit behind her. Our freshman class is awesome. Allie Hutchins right now is probably neck and neck with Erin with offensive stats. I mean, Erin obviously has the nod, but to even be that close as a freshman really speaks a lot. Peyton Plotz really stepped it up. She was not very good in the fall. She's going to kill me for saying that. But this winter was outstanding. And so I feel really good about where she's going. And then, of course, you have our returners coming back. So those were the two notable names offensively who are getting it done in the middle.
When you talk about your hitting lineup last year, or 2 years ago, was unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. And so I know last year you talked about the reps that some of the newer players got. Can they get to that level that you had 2 years ago? Just, smacking everything and getting it out the park.
Well, I don't want to dismiss the returners. So I feel really good about Grace Lawson's doing a good job. Carissa Hamilton's doing a good job in that role. Those are returners. As far as the younger people, yes, because this freshman class is special. And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, 5 out of the 7 are second generation University of Kentucky people. So they have grown up watching Kentucky softball. Their parents are invested in all the sports. They are as mad as the fans are when we don't win a football game. I mean, they are all in on Kentucky. And because of that, there's a little different juice behind them. So with that said, they're special in that way. The other thing is they are brilliant. They are some of the smartest people that I've ever met. Like they're getting high academic scholarships, but they're down to earth at the same time. I mean, they are a very, very special class. I didn't mention Delaney Sullivan because we were talking about the power, but she's also somebody that, in the fall she was trying to figure things out, but now looks pretty good as well. So we have a very, very good freshman class. I do think that they can pick it up after the first week. The first weekend out, their eyes are going to be about this big, and then I think that they're going to be like, all right, game's on, and they're gonna be fine.
Rachel, when you talk about generational players, you've got one in Koppel. Mm-hmm. When you recruited her, did you envision she could be as good as what she's been, and can she be better this year?
The answer is yes and yes. I'll tell you why. Because when Erin was an 8th grader, committed as an 8th grader, right? Freshman. Okay. So she was part of the early verbal stuff. And I remember her sitting in my office and we were talking about verbal offers and all that. And the thing I tell anybody who comes to Kentucky is, and I know this is a terrible sell for all of you recruits out there watching this, but it's the truth. So here's the deal. You commit as a freshman or whatever, and if you continue to be the person that you are now, if you continue to do things the way you do on and off the field as you are when you committed to Kentucky, then we're going to protect you, we're going to support you, we're going to help you develop your skill set so you can be elite. But if you change the way you go about things, then deal is off, because we are recruiting this person that we think you are right now, and we believe that person can be elite. And so I remember talking to Erin about that, and she already, and even as a 9th grader, said, yeah, I've already thought about that, and now that I've achieved this goal, and at that time it was, playing in the SEC or whatever the case is, now that I've achieved that goal, I've changed my goals, and now she was working on being the best softball player she could be. So she started this process when she was a freshman and a sophomore in high school. So that was a very mature way of going about things. And even in her freshman year when COVID hit, when she came in, she was playing against people much older than she was. And I even at that time thought about redshirting her so that she could go be the All-American, everything she needed to be. And she actually held her own her freshman year against people who were much older. So I was very impressed with that. Now, as far as what the future holds, she is a lot better this year than she was a year ago. Last year was very easy for myself and our pitchers to get her out in the winter. This year, I think she's hit, well, we play inside, so we call things outs just because I feel like making her mad, but she's probably hit 5 home runs, in 4 scrimmages or something crazy like that off of the pitches that used to get her out. So I think she's going to be very good. Her shortstop play is it's not even recognizable to compare to where she was before. She's playing an elite level. So yeah, I think she can be better, and I think she can even be better than that.
You kind of touched on this already. It may even be Erin, but do you have a alpha on this team or somebody that the other players can feed off of?
Ooh, that's a great question. The way we coach as a coaching staff is it's really a hard coaching thing to do. When you're a coach, you really just want to punch them. But we really want them to, I know that's probably illegal on some level, but we want them to be strong, independent, voice their opinion, all that sort of thing. So I believe we have a lot of alphas on the team. In fact, I would argue Erin's natural personality is she's incredibly nice. So when she was a freshman, I would try to be mean to her, to try, like an older brother kind of thing, older sister kind of thing, to get at her. So I would say from an alpha perspective of the older people, Schoonover is an only child, a Southerner, and a pitcher. So you can imagine how that goes. I would say Vanessa's an alpha. Oh, she's an alpha. Taylor Ebbs is really smart, down to earth, really cool, but she's kind of particular. Grace Lawson, there you go. So, I could go down the list. I know I'm not really gonna get this replayed, but I think that we have a lot on the team, and I'll be honest with you, I think some of the freshmen are already. So I feel good about that. That's not ever an issue with our team, to be honest.
Rachel, what are your biggest concerns with this team, and what should we be looking for in terms of early season improvements?
Well, softball itself has changed so much. So now, we're trying to win the SEC. We're trying to be standing in Oklahoma City. And the size of the super teams that have been created, they've been created because with COVID, there's been a greater pool of graduate students and stuff that are transferring throughout. The size of the field does not match the size of the people anymore. So 200 feet is nothing for a softball player with the scouting and the juice bats, and people are accidentally hitting home runs all the time. And so top to bottom, we are moving towards a team that's a lot bigger and in size, and we can certainly win and we can hit our home runs, but we have to be on our A game. Not many people on our team are hitting home runs over the fence. They have to be all in. So the first thing you have to look at is our pitching staff, if we can keep the runs down. And so I think that that's going to be key there. I think catching is a big question mark for us right now. We certainly have 3 people that are going to get their shot, but we talk about Kayla from an offensive perspective, but she was the anchor of our behind the dish for 4 years, so we need to make sure that we have somebody that makes the pitchers feel good, that is all about the pitcher, and that is a good receiver back there. Everything else is just going to be gravy to me. So they'll certainly get their shot, but that's going to be a key place to watch also. Once we solidify that position, I think we'll take off.